E005 of 2022 has consolidated the presidential election petition numbers E001, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8 of 2022 are hereby dismissed. President-elect to be varied under Article 143.
Very good.
This being a matter cutting across the public interest, we order that each party do their
Yes. Finally, that is how William Samuel Ruto reacted when Martha Kome's court, the Supreme Court of Kenya, declared William Samuel Ruto as a validly elected president of the Republic of Kenya, and he was declared the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. That is where the pain started. That was the original sin, the supreme sin that was committed by the Supreme Court of Kenya. Things have never been the same again. Not even the judiciary has been spared. Today, the judges are complaining. The judges are crying of funding. The judiciary is crying of underfunding. And William Samuel Ruto had promised that he was going to increase the funding of the judiciary because Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had actually tried to cripple the judiciary by withholding funds that was meant for the judiciary. The parents have not been spared. In fact, if there is a group of people who have suffered under William Samuel Ruto, it is the parent of this country. I pity the parents of university students. I pity the parents of high school students. The kind of money they are paying is something that you cannot be able to explain. How do you explain a situation where William Samuel Ruto took over the reign of leadership when the university education was very, very affordable? How do you explain where the parents were paying just 20,000? 20,000, because the idea of Moi Kibaki was to make education completely free. Now comes William Samuel Ruto. The parent cannot afford because majority of parents are paying over 100,000. Over 100,000. Where do they get this kind of money? When you go to high school, the story is the same. The school fees, the principals are actually charging exorbitant fees without caring, without looking at the Ministry of Education guidelines, without bothering to know what is happening, without caring, even going through the Ministry of Education to approve the funds. This is our country for you. If you look at the businessmen have been hurt the most. A number of businesses have closed down since William Samuel Ruto took over. When you look at the opposition, because what we are doing here, we are just looking back to see what has happened since this ruling by the Supreme Court. If you look at Rigathi Gachagua, Lige G, the truthful man who took power with gusto, who became the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya and was so much determined to exercise his power, is now the greatest enemy of the state. Rigathi Gachagua is now William Samuel Ruto's greatest opponent. Having been impeached, his security having been withdrawn, and having been left just like that, and Rigathi Gachagua is no longer in government, ladies and gentlemen. If you look again at the Kenyan worker has not been spared. The Kenyan worker gross income, half of the income is going to William Samuel Ruto's taxes. And even next year, the payslip of the Kenyan worker is going to shrink further and further because the government is going to increase the NSS's money, the National Social Security Fund. I don't know what to be left for the Kenyan worker. I pity the Kenyan worker When I look at the number of taxes that have been introduced by this regime, you realize that we have lost it. These taxes have made the cost of operating businesses in Kenya very, very high. If you look at the cost of electricity, the cost of electricity has quadrupled, has been increased 4 times. 4-fold, ladies and gentlemen. And if you ask William Samoei Ruto, if you ask these guys who are in government, they are telling you, anytime you ask them, when you talk about the high cost of living, whatever they are talking about, they are saying that they are telling us about fertilizer. And then you ask yourself, what is the relationship between fertilizer and the cost of electricity? These are 2 different things. When you tell them that fuel is very, very expensive because they took over power when petrol was retailing at Kenya shilling 150, they tells you that William Samoei Ruto is lowering the fuel prices. Surely, how is he lowering the fuel prices? And when he took over the power, it was retailing at 150. Now it is retailing at 188. In some places, 190 something. So the cost of doing business has become extremely high. There is also the pet project of William Samoei Ruto of the affordable houses. You tell them about the cost of living, they tell you that William Samoei Ruto has created jobs for thousands of Kenyans. You tell them that things are not working, they tell you that William Samoei Ruto is building thousands and thousands of houses. And these houses, by the way, they are funded by Kenyan workers. The funny thing is that nobody can explain how much money has been collected by the government through the affordable housing levy. How much money has been collected? And who accounts for this money? And you see, the government is collecting money and the government is spending money. Nobody today can come and explain very clearly how it is happening. When you look at it, you clearly see that this is government doing business with the government. These are guys who are in government and they are doing business. They own everything. If you look at the insurance industry, which is almost collapsing, and they own the insurance industry. The banking sectors have not been spared. In fact, I was reading just the other day that I think 14 banks are going to close in Kenya next year. 14 banks. Because the government is increasing, I think, the capitation. So what will be left, ladies and gentlemen? What will be left in this country? Because when you look at this country, hakuna kitu ambacho kinaenda kwa namna ambayo inafaa. Ukiangalia siasa zetu, the opposition has completely been destroyed by William Samoei Ruto. There is no opposition in this country. There is no opposition. Even Kalonzo Musyoka, who was actually in Azimio, hata hajui afanye nini, hajui elekee wapi. Look at Mother Karua. Mother Karua, who I heard saying that he is going to relinquish the leadership of NARC Kenya and form other formations. You realize that it is a headless chicken, and the government seems to continue destroying democracy. Look at a number of things that has happened in this country. They have caused so much pain. And never in the history of this country has a president risen to power and caused such pain to Kenyans. If you want to know what I'm talking about, ask somebody who has been abducted. Ask the family of people who have been abducted to see the pain they have gone. Ask Jim Wajigi, he will tell you. If you ask Alfred Ketel, he will tell you. Ask parents who had Gen Zs and who went to demonstrate, never to return home. This government has caused so much pain. That declaration of Mother Koome, the president of the Supreme Court, is actually worth analyzing because it is the one that put it where we are. I don't know what you think, but from where I sit, mambo si mazuri jameni. Mambo si mazuri. I heard William Samoei Ruto yesterday saying that Tanzania has overtaken Kenya, and people are clapping, by the way. I was shocked. I was left with many questions. What were they clapping for? And most of these people who are clapping were Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are losing this nation. We need to sit down and decide about the destiny of this republic. Otherwise, We must make Kenya great. We must make Kenya great. We move it according to Vision 2030 as was envisaged by Mwai Kibaki and his Economic Council. Guys, have a blessed Saturday evening.